bumping away, streaming for all to see. Cachorro, Cachorro. There's a dawn of superheroes here today for you and me. Cachorro, Cachorro.
What's up, Uncle Dryads? We're back for the final X-Men 97 Season 1 review. Episode 10, Tolerance's Extinction, Part 3. This is all wham bammy. There's awesome battle scenes in this. Great tons of amazing cameos. Awesome cliffhangers leading to the next season. With a good possible villain reveal for the next season, which is fantastic. This episode was just so jam-packed full of lots of good stuff. Some good story moments, some team moments, some drama, some fighting. It's jam full of everything awesome. Show goes out with a solid 9 on this episode. The show overall as a whole has probably been about a 9. It was like an amazing show. I mean, arguably could be made for it to be a 10. I'm not gonna lie. I try not to give out 10s if I can. I was like, yeah, so because that puts us too high of a bar. But amazing episode. I got my Magneto hair going here. So let's talk about all the goodies in this episode. So we get Magneto's voice on the previously on. The opening scene had one new scene and one re-added new scene. So there was a scene of Magneto and Xavier versus some soldiers. I'm understanding that's in the One Man's Worth episode, maybe. Not quite sure where that was pulled from. And this scene where Xavier using his telepathy and Emma Frost stops him. We've had that before. It was in, then it was out, now it's back again. So that is our intro. It's a long episode 2, by the way, so they actually did jam it full of good stuff here. So let's get right to it. So we open a scene. It's at a bar. We see Xavier and Magneto talking about mutants, and Magneto's like, "Yeah, we can't talk about that. You know, we just keep it low key." And then we have like where Xavier reveals he's a mutant, and Magneto reveals he's a mutant. So it's kind of like we're having a flashback between the two, and all of a sudden, Magneto hears Rogue's voice. And this outside window turns into an ocean, a torment ocean, with a boat in the distance. And we realize we're in Magneto's mind, and Xavier's trying to reason with him the best he can about all this stuff, everything he's done, all the this, and we use the Logan, and he's like, "Hey, he was trying to murder me, okay?" Xavier kind of glosses over that. So yeah, it's like a Logan, but yeah, he was trying to murder me. So he's trying to reason with him. He's like, "Hey, I need you to turn the power back on." He's like, "This is the wrong thing to do. If you won't do it, I will have to hijack your mind and do it myself," which means we both could get lost, or both of our minds could be lost. So he's trying to Magneto, and Magneto like, "Nope, not doing it, not having it." So these two, the scene where Xavier goes full Fatal Attractions moment here. We get this. No more Magnus, no more. Logan shall be the last. So he full goes bam into Magneto's mind. And this big epic thing with the repercussions. He turns the power back on in the world. So which comes to another great scene. We get to see Silver Samurai, the Avenger, Tony Stark, and Captain America with President Kelly. We see Daredevil. We see Doctor Strange doing surgery. And this switches to a speech by Bastion talking about, haha, Xavier in his dream. His Xavier's silly dream is going to be the reason is helping me in the long run. So it turns everything back on, and he gets control of his Prime Sentinels, come back all wake back up. And we kind of go through some of the same cameos right after that. After he does a little speech. So he's got all the X-Men caught, and Jean's body's in a lake, so they're assuming her dead. So the Prime Sentinels come back alive, and he's like, final phase, I'm taking over everything. So the Prime Sentinels come, and they're taking out... they're in Wakanda. We see Black Panther. We see Cloak and Daggers with Deadpool. They're coming alive where the Soviet team is with Omega Red. See him with Psylocke and Alpha Flight surrounding President Kelly. So he's boom, boom, taking over it all, baby. He starts taunting Cables. How many times you try to stop me now? And makes Sinners Let's Cable talk. He's like 200. Or was it 300? 200, 300, like something like that. 200 or 300 times. I can't remember the number off my head. He says, all right, no, I'm going to kill you now just to make a point of you. So it's like, hey, wait a minute. This was my prize. This dude won't stop until he takes me out, so we got to kill him, okay? We just got to kill him. All of a sudden, everything starts shaking, and up from the water and fire combined is the Phoenix. Oh, I think I forgot to flip some pages there. There's Daredevil. There's Daredevil. And so the Phoenix rises, and she takes out all the Prime Sentinels, and she puts the collar, the headband back together, and pops it on the Bastion's head, breaking his hold over all the Prime Sentinels as they fall out of. They just pretty much just fall down out of when they've lost control, reverting, losing his control over them. She strips Sinister of all his imported DNA that he's been using to sustain himself, so he turns into a withered old monster beast man, and Morph just happy to show him his face and make fun of him. This pathetic morsel of a person. So the thing they got that ran, all of a sudden bashes up, comes back out of the ground in full force. Goes over to Cable, rips Cable's arm off and beats him with it, and then uses the cybernetics of the arm to turn himself into like a winged archangel looking, like maybe Onslaught kind of looking thing. And he's like, fine. There was a talk about how Xavier refused to help him as a kid, and they're like, no, your mother refused to let Xavier help you. You liar. So his end up plan, since everything's falling, since he lost connection to his Sentinels, is, hey, I'm just going to go make Asteroid M crash into the Earth and dinosaur you guys. Dinosaur the human race. Dinosaur everybody. So he takes off for Asteroid M. We see Xavier and Magneto are unconscious. We see Wolverine's all also unconscious. Cyclops like, hey, don't you break her heart. Do what you do best and heal. So they're like, all right, well, I don't know what's going on. We got to go. All of a sudden, Jean telepathes Scott, hey, we got problems. Bastion's on his way to you, and he's planning to take Asteroid M out and make it crash. Meanwhile, then Xavier's able to telepath into their minds, like, hey, I'm trying to restore Magnus' mind. He's like, hey, if you don't get out of there, when he loses it, you're trapped there forever too. He's like, I know, but we need Magneto to save the world. So Xavier's like foreshadowing, I guess. So they get glimpses. So we also see a scene with President Kelly's like a lot of other leaders are saying, hey, Mr. Kelly, we gotta do it. You gotta approve it. We gotta approve it. Magneto's a threat. The mutants are having, to stop it. So Captain America's like, sir, this is not a good idea. We don't know. There could be repercussions. But Kennedy's like, proceed. Sebastian shows up. And his name was Gambit. Remember it. we get some awesome battle scenes. So Rogue comes pounding in and taking she just opens up a can of whoop ass all over this guy. She is just going to town. They bust out of Asteroid M and they land on the moon. I think it looks like the Watchers little moon base, I believe it was, or it may have been the moon base where they did the whole Dark Phoenix thing, the Phoenix Saga. What did they lean towards the Watcher? And Bastion finally gets the upper hand on Rogue, and then Sunspot comes to and he's taken out. So we get a big scene with them two fighting before he takes them back out, and he goes back into the thing. And Nightcrawler teleports him into the main room, and we get a big epic fight between him. Nightcrawler has a nice little battle sequence with him before he is able to predict Nightcrawler's teleportation. Then we get a good old scene with him and Cyclops are going at each other, and this was an epic Cyclops battle. Cyclops zapping him, doing dodging. Finally, he goes to shoot like this. We get the famous old thing. He shoots a beam out of his mouth. Cyclops slips up his blast, and they're doing the wham thing. And Cyclops says, "You will never hurt my family." Boom! We see full Capcom versus Marvel Cyclops power, man. He just goes full force. Bashes Bastion back into like a wall. Bastion evolves. He's like all these little laser guns come back, so they're all shooting at him. And he's trying to take them out, and then finally they get to him and knock him out. So he's going in for the kill. Next thing we see some Jubilee sparkles come and her powers finally evolve, and she cuts off Bastion's wings. And you get the you going to do? Take me down with fireworks? She's like I haven't heard that one before. She comes up, so he like hits her and busts her glasses, and so we get some great Jubilee. Finally, get a really good Jubilee it's really short-lived, but a Jubilee fight scene here. So she does that, and then she gives him a big whack, and sends him flying into the Magneto's power sentinels. So it's like really a lot of good action, just amazingly good action here. I will give it that. Then he's coming back through it again. He's like, they're all grouped together, and all of a sudden, gets family. I got my family. As the Sentinel comes busting through, and then steps on him, and it's the rest of the X-Men. Beast made a Sentinel barn. We get Morph turns into Sauron, so we get a Sauron cameo. So we got to keep the cameos going. So the team unite, and all of a sudden Bastion starts raising up the Sentinel's foot, trying to pull it up. You can see half his face is all Terminator-like. Half of his face is busted. Like one of his eyes, you can see the robotic part of his eye, and his lips and gums are all revealed. His teeth and gums are revealed because his face has been blown away. And they all get in the fight mode, get ready to fight, and Cyclops is like, no, stand down. Like, what? It's like, we're going to do what we keep preaching about. We're going to embrace the future. Because they keep calling him the future incarnate. So Cyclops is like, hey, Xavier came for you. Your mother lied. She wouldn't let him help. Well, he must have had a reason. So they keep trying to appeal to him about humans, and more of them are being born. Humans are having babies, and more are being born, and trying to appeal to Bastion. Like, haha, that's what your humans think of you. All of a sudden, there's all these missiles inbound. The Magneto Protocol has been fired. Which I don't know why you thought missiles would be the ideal to use against Magneto, the guy who can control magnetism. Maybe they're plastic missiles. So all these missiles are coming in. They're fired to take out the gravity well that keeps the asteroid in orbit. So explosions start going off, and Jean puts a telekinetic bubble over everybody. And there's this thing explodes. There's like a suction into the explosion. And Cyclops says, Bastion, give me your hand. Tries to save Bastion, and Bastion refuses and lets himself get sucked into it. Then the whole thing explodes. Supposedly Bastion is dead. Killing Bastion, I guess. So Asteroid M starts crashing, starts falling towards the Earth. As the team's trying to run. You get a Mr. Fantastic cameo from Morph as well. So we get a scene where the X-Men are trying to get out of there. It's like, well, we can't stop it. So Cyclops, hey, everybody leave. I'll stay up and blow up as much of this asteroid as I can. And no, that's suicide. You can't do that. And Beast's like, you know what? Eureka. We all just have to do all our stuff at once. Maybe all of us combined can stop it from falling. So we cut to the Galapagos Islands where you got a bandaged up Cable sitting in a diner, and Cyclops and Jean appear to him, and they do a little heart speech, and Jean uses her powers to suppress Cyclops' power so that they can, do the whole. I have your eye. You said you have my eyes, and you have neither of your eyes. He's like, one thing my father didn't get to do that I made a mistake when you got sent to the future. I didn't get to say goodbye. And Kay was like, it's one of those endings, huh? So yeah, it's like, well, we told Legends of the X-Men. It's like none of them live up to the truth about you guys. So we get a Cable and Cyclops saying bye to his son. So they're going all full force, trying to use all their powers to stop everything from crashing. Didn't catch it the first time, but on the second time watching it, we see like looters and people looking at TVs through a glass room. There's a bunch of looting going on, and it's Peter Parker and MJ. Why he's not Spider-Man right now, I don't know. But there's Peter Parker and MJ watching the news as they're talking about the asteroid M coming down. People still blaming mutants, even though it was not the mutants. So they're fighting. We go back in. Oh, I forgot. I'm just terrible at this. So there's the Cyclops getting ready to do his big battle. There's where the team stood up. So we go back and they're trying. So Magneto's starting. At one point, Magneto's giving into his pity. He's starting to go under and lose it. And then Xavier gets one last try to appeal to him, and he starts remembering. We had a dream. Yes, we shared a dream. You're Professor Charles Xavier, and you are Eric Magnus Leshner. But you go by you go by something else. You don't remember your parents because they died when you were a child. Remember who you are. And he comes back to and rises up out of the sun and goes, Magneto lives! And puts the big Magneto bubble around the asteroid M and starts taking it back into space. And there's all the other X-Men on the outside fly into it, back inside now that Magneto's awake. Get back into orbit, and all of a sudden, the whole thing just bamfs. Just kind of disintegrates out of nowhere. And everybody's like, whoa, what happened? So they save the day. And then we know 6 months goes by, and we see Forge. We'll bring this up because it shows the board. So Forge is up. He's got one of those boards up there, just like you see with, like the Days of Future Past kind of boards. Showing presumed dead. A couple of cool things to mention here is Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are both labeled as off-world. Cable, Jubilee, and Sunspot are labeled as AWOL. Most of our X-Men are... I didn't even notice that one. I didn't even notice that one before. Why is Archangel's missing, presumed dead? I didn't even notice Archangel on there. Go figure. So most of our X-Men are presumed dead. Cable, Jubes, and Sunspot are AWOL, and we have 2 people that are off-world. I just now noticed Archangel's on the list as presumed dead as well. Interesting. That doesn't look like it says Archangel, though. What is this? Some other interesting notes on the list that worth mentioning that are still around were Colossus, Magic, Iceman, Havoc, as you can see here, Kitty Pryde! Finally, Kitty Pryde gets an X-Men 97. Shadowcat gets an X-Men 97 sort of cameo. Emma Frost, of course. The interesting ones, we have Dust and Exodus. So those are 2 just random ones added on there. So that was interesting. So out of nowhere comes Bishop. And he pulls the gun like, hey, who are you? Shouldn't be walking in on me like that. And it's like, oh, we know each other very well, just not yet. So he's me. So Forge does, obviously he's talking about how him and Forge are friends, are close in the future. It's like, you're moving on pretty quick, so why they're all dead? Nah, so here's the problem. It's not where they are, it's when they are. Someone or something pulled the X-Men into the time stream. So we're saying that the X-Men were time swapped. We see most of the team show up. They're in ancient Egypt, and they go across. They run across like a village being attacked by some Egyptian dudes. So we see a lot of them are stuck here in Egypt. We also show that Scott and Jean are in the year 3960. Also appears to be in Egypt because you can see the pyramids in the background. As they run into some warriors from that time. They are the Ascani, Mother Ascani, and her clan Ascani. And hey, we're not a threat. We're not here to. This is who we are. And all of a sudden, Nathan, I don't sense. Someone comes out. I don't sense any danger from them. And we see young Nathan is a child. So this is 100% falling into the storyline of the adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, where they went to the future and they raised Nathan together under the names, I believe it was Red and Slim, as what they went by. So he didn't know he was raised by his parents. So, kind of tying into that a little storyline a little bit, but also noticing it is in Egypt. And as soon as you see Egypt, especially past Egypt, it makes you think of somebody in particular. There's one person fighting. Sorry, I had to steal this picture from someone. They notice there's one person that's fighting. They save him and they try and talk to him. Like, who are you? And he takes off his face mask, and so you can see everything. He goes, I am Insubnor. And they kind of like have this look like, uh-oh. You see Beast carrying Professor X up to a hill, and they see like a city with like apocalypse kind of stuff on it. Like, oh dear, we're in trouble. But then we get a post-credit scene. And we're back to Genosha. Present-day Genosha. And someone's digging through this. There's so much. Just pulls up a thing of dirt, and as the dirt blows away, we see the Queen of Hearts. There's like so much destruction. So much death. You just see it, and all you see is a hand and the face of Apocalypse. So even more Apocalypse. So I think we're getting Apocalypse in season 2. I think Apocalypse is going to be a big role in season 2. And there's a very interesting thing here. Obviously, we see the Queen of Hearts. That's obviously a playing card, which is tied to Gambit. And there's certain words that when Apocalypse says them, you pay heed to. War, pestilence, famine, and death. So he's holding a card for Gambit, and he mutters the word, and he says a sentence that ends with the word death. Well, I guess we found. So there's all kinds of speculation on this. How do we get Gambit back? Krakoa, back as a Prime Sentinel. Or Gambit, the Horseman of Death. I think that's where we're going. I think he's going to bring Gambit back as the Horseman of Death. Though Gambit wasn't in his body's not in Genosha, so I guess he's. So I think we got some. We're going to get a lot of Apocalypse in season 2. At least at the start, I think we're going to get some new Horsemen. I think we're going to get. That's how we were going to get Gambit back. He's going to resurrect Gambit as the Horseman of Death. I'm not. I'd have to go back and research. I'm not sure if there's a specific. Obviously, the Scani is sending at the Cyclops in Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix storyline. I remember reading that, where they went to the future and raised Nathan. So they actually got to have the parental raising of Nathan that they thought they got robbed of. I don't know if I can remember any time where they got pulled back to ancient Egypt for Apocalypse. That I'm not recalling. So I don't know if we're tying. I don't know if this is off script or they're following something. I like the way that we tied the whole Marvel universe together. We got the city heroes like Daredevil, Cloak and Dagger. The Avengers showed up. Lots in their different forms. We got scenes of Alpha Flight. We got Omega Red again. I like to show Silver Samurai just looming over his city, over Tokyo. So finding ways to bring it all in. When they showed them in the time stream, they did not show Wolverine. So apparently we're obviously going to get feral Wolverine, but how that's going, that's an interesting. So how that's going to factor in is interesting to see. Will we get a new team of X-Men in the present day? Like, will we get a Havoc and Iceman, Colossus? Will Kitty finally get the chance to show up in the show? So we got, so who's this? So who do you show again? So, Colossus, Magic, Iceman, Havoc, Kitty, and Emma. That could make a full team right there. Guess you could put these two on there as your Jubilee and Sunspot ones. Introducing people. I mean, obviously we saw Exodus and Genosha, so apparently he survived that. I'm trying to figure out why Archangel is presumed dead. There was did look like Archangel. Did look like he was in Genosha. Actually, there was a couple times I thought I saw him in Genosha. So I guess maybe they're saying he maybe died in Genosha. Cable's stuck in our town. I don't see how, unless Fortune is to find a way to make Cable a new arm. So Cable's been, without an arm, is in trouble. So definitely some potential. I wouldn't mind seeing like a modern day new X-Men team be formed in the loss of the X-Men, just to carry on the X-Men stuff. That'd be interesting to see. And then obviously we have our time displaced characters as well. So there's some potential for some really cool stuff here in season 2. That would be very, very interesting. So it's like getting a new team going. Her finally getting her day in the sun. Poor Kitty. She gets screwed so hard. She ain't even get. That's her only cameo is a picture on a wall. They can't even put her in the show at all. She's not even a morph cameo. Like I said, these definitely would be 2 new add-ons. So that would be interesting. Just Magic's always a very popular one as well. Just her cameos with her. I've seen her in the show. We did nothing for Colossus or Iceman, so none of these 3 have showed up. But definitely could be down for some new, interesting, cool stuff there. I think that would be very interesting to see. So I do look forward to that. So, I guess, I don't know, however long it takes them to get season 2 out, I guess it's supposedly coming next year. What we do know is Marvel takes forever to put out their shows. Like, I guess they finally announced the release for the new Agatha show, which has had 3,000 names, which they tried to play into. That is a joke. It was Agatha doing that all along, so it's now Agatha all along. Which, don't get me wrong, I thought she was a great villain in WandaVision. I did not think she was strong enough to get her own spin-off show. I did not think that was going to work. And now that you're putting it out 5 years later or whatever, 4 or 5 years later, yeah, I think it's not going to go well because you waited too long. That buzz around, everyone's forgot about that. No one's going about rewatching that. Their problem is they take too long with their stuff. They don't want to have shit overlapping. This is where you don't understand how things work. You're too busy trying to keep Marvel people locked into your Disney Plus. They used to keep saying you're doing the whole one at a time thing. That is not viable. Just look at broadcast television, how cable worked. You got new shows, couple new shows a day, a night, 5 days a week. That's how you got people tuning into shows. Netflix kind of is the best over these. Amazon Prime maybe a little bit too. They kind of like, I think, do one show before that. Sometimes they'll still play some of their shows too, like one season, one show at a time. But Netflix will put out a show, but they'll put out another show, and usually they put them all out at once, so it's not that big deal. But they overlap. You got to overlap your shows, man. You got Marvel. Marvel shows could run your Disney Plus, and they always go with this whole, oh, it's Marvel fatigue. No, it's not Marvel fatigue. It's people just not. If you put out stuff people want to see, people will watch it. So it's not Marvel fatigue. It's You did too many shows about non-relevant characters, about B-level characters. The new Avenger characters are B-level characters. Eternals are C-level characters. Shang-Chi's a C-level character. No one even knew who these people were. Your flagship was Ant-Man. He's a B-level character. Captain Marvel, you wanted her to be an A-level character, but look, I don't have nothing against the Captain Marvel movies. I don't even think the newest movie was bad. I thought it was okay. But stigma, there's already a stigma. People are going to hate. That's her. Might as well drop that because she's doomed. Because people are been programmed to hate Brie Larson. Because I don't know why. There's some people twisted some stupid thing she said. Well, it wasn't even a stupid thing. Some people twisted this thing she said to make it sound like she said something really bad, which she technically didn't. Go research it. If you don't agree with me, go actually research what she said and where she said it. Take your 2 minutes and use Google. Don't just whine. Actually go research where it's from. It's stupid. It's minuscule. It was an award show that nobody even knew existed. And it doesn't even mean what people said. What she said doesn't even mean what she said. And that's why everybody hates her ever since then. So, yeah, so that movie was doomed just from that alone. Because fat fucks like the quartering of already did all the groundwork to turn people against her. But you needed some A-listers. You had no A-listers. I mean, yeah, you had a Spider-Man movie. Okay, that did great. You had a Doctor Strange movie, which I think did okay. I mean, I really liked that Doctor Strange movie. But you really should have done the Fantastic Four a lot sooner. You should have had a way better plan for bringing in the X-Men than you did. And now you're kind of rushing in the X-Men in the door, which is not good. Now you're kind of rushing the X-Men, so that's terrible that you're going to just try and hurry up and put them in. Honestly, I don't think Deadpool and Wolverine's going to be that good. I think Deadpool and Wolverine's going to be a letdown, too. I think they're just trying to do too much fan service and stuff with that. So I think people are going to be disappointed. I'll be honest with you. But you needed to mix in. You could get more shows going, especially at the same time, and keeping your stuff. If you put in some good stuff, the characters people like Daredevil, Punisher, those would have been big hits. With some of these other B-level characters, your stuff would have went. So, hey, people are like, you know what, I'll watch this B-level character stuff, see what Miss Marvel or Kate Bishop or who's the other one? Did they do another one? I thought they did another one. I know they're still going to do the Ironheart show. That's not going to go well because nobody cares about Ironheart as a character. So I think is that the one that's supposed to come out next? Is Ironheart? So this is an anime show. There's absolutely no reason you cannot do this show and have it out by next spring or summer. Going ranting on this, I know I'm ranting along, but it's an anime show with voice characters. There's no reason you can't just hurry up and get the show out there. Besides, you're just trying to do your stupid stigma, one thing at a time, don't overlap. That's gonna be the downfall for it. I'm gonna say it now. That will be the downfall. They think it's the fatigues, whatever. It's not. It's you don't give people enough of what they want. You wait too long to do shit. 5 years for a WandaVision spinoff? Really? I mean, that's not how TV works, man. Usually you do a spinoff. If a TV show got a spinoff, it's usually like within the next year or 2 years at the most. So, whatever. Hopefully, they don't wait too long to get the next season out so we can continue to see where they go. Like I said, a lot of good potential. Like I said, a cool new X-Men team, present-day X-Men team, while time travel stuff going on with Apocalypse, apparently, like I said, would be very cool. But we'll find out when we find out. So, stay tuned for Season 2 videos in a while. But otherwise, feel free to watch my channel for other stuff. We'll find other good, cool stuff to cover. Next time, Cachorro out.